Good morning. I wanted to make a video to talk about a few things that I've seen or been using recently that I think might be helpful or useful to some folks. The first thing is how power charges work in this game, and other charges too, but I mostly focus on power charges. There's a change from POE 1 where they gave you this flat bonus the more you had, which was pretty simple to understand. Now they don't inherently give you anything, and there's like a few ways that you can utilize them using skills and whatnot. I play Bone Storm mostly, so I'm generating power charges all the time and then casting my Bone Storm to empower it. But that's a pretty niche build, and not a lot of people are playing that, so that's not really helpful. However, power charges can be beneficial here, and they are beneficial if you are using Charge Infusion. Charge Infusion is a 30 spirit buff, and power charges grant you 18% more critical hit chance while you have a power charge. There's not that many ways to get more critical hit chance, and when you're pairing this with maybe a Winter Orb that is doing critical weakness, you can get some pretty significant crit bonuses for not a lot of investment. So it is 30 spirit, so you have to find a way to fit that in, which can be frustrating. But the way that we're generating power charges is through with Profane Ritual. So you link Profane Ritual with Profusion, Unleash, Fast Forward, and Intense Agony. We don't care about the skill doing damage or anything like that. We want the ritual duration to be as low as possible. You could take reduced duration nodes on your weapon swap and use this as your weapon swap. If you are a spellcaster, I would recommend not doing that for reasons we'll talk about. But maybe this makes sense to you if you're just some kind of an attack build looking to use power chargers. Power charge is very easy to do this in a map. When you kill a pack, you just can click your Profane Ritual and they just will keep pulling back to you. The way Charge Infusion works is that it will consume a charge every 4 to 5 seconds depending on the level. The higher the level, the slower it consumes them, and the more either crit hit chance or defenses or skill speed you'll get. It does pair pretty well with the cluster here. Overflowing power gives you 2 more power charges, which is nice. And then you get 20% crit damage bonus with each of these nodes if you've consumed a power charge recently, and the buff taking a power charge from you does count as consuming a power charge. There's also a cluster down here, which gives you 20% increased energy shield if you've consumed a power charge. And I think this can be pretty interesting, especially for maybe a monk that doesn't have access to a ton of energy shield down here. 60% is pretty beefy, and easy way to get 60% crit damage and 60% energy shield. And like I said, it's very easy to maintain uptime on this. So the way that I am keeping uptime is on my weapon swap. I'm just using a spirit stick and the spirit shield. And this is just for maybe when you're starting a map or a boss, right? You obviously are just Profane Ritualing corpses once you're actually in a map fighting. But yeah, you can see we just take the boys out. We'll weapon swap back over, and you can see on my Hex Blast, our critical chance damage bonus is changing. The reason that it's dropping is that this is on 4.7 seconds right now. I think if you have it at like level 14 or 15, it's 4 seconds. It's four seconds, so you can definitely set it to, like, if you are doing this, set it so that you are constantly getting those buffs. And I think especially if you're using the energy shield cluster as well, you want to do that. I'm just screwing around with this, so I haven't really optimized it or anything like this, but I think the ideal level would be like 14%. The other interesting thing with Charge Infusion is that if you take this node here, it is now generating endurance charges instead of power charges. Well, that seems pretty nice because we are now getting 15% more defenses while you have an endurance charge. And we can do the same thing. And this gives us, again, this is a really memey build, gives us, 15% more energy shield. If you're playing some kind of Queen of the Forest build where you're stacking evasion to get movement speed, or just stacking evasion, or multiple defenses, or just stacking energy shield, 50% more defenses is great. It is a bit of a challenge here because we can't get more than 3 energy or endurance charges easily. Maybe there's a way that somebody can think of. I haven't really put too much thought into this at all. I'm mostly focused on power charges. But if you max level this and you quality this, it lasts longer. It's going to be like every 6 seconds. So you will, for pretty much that 20 second duration, have the max defenses. And again, it's very easy to keep these going once you're in a map. So yeah, I thought that could be pretty interesting to folks, pretty helpful. Anytime you can get more to a stat, it's great. Couple other things. One of the other things is Soul Offering. This is a really huge buff for spellcasters, especially before you fight a boss. And it appears to be bugged. I don't think it works. This is how it works as intended. But same thing when you're switching over and you got the Skelly Boys around you. By the way, this is just like a great, when you're weapon swap blinking to get away, and you just can throw like 8 skeletons up. You could throw have your a bone cage or a orb with knockback. Swap your weapon for you. It makes like 8 skeletons to distract some folks, and then you can just blink away. That's nice. It's pretty helpful. I mostly die just from getting swarmed at this point on my actual build. So, but yeah. So the way Soul Offering works is that it is going to make these 2 bone spikes from your boys, and gives you a lot of spell damage. It's a lot. It's like 60% if you use the right skill gems. Where it's broken is that if you swap over back to your main weapons and everything, weapon swap and everything disappears, it stays. This is not how it is intended to be working, because the bone spike itself is a minion, and if it dies, the effect should end immediately. The minion disappears, and it still is working. But I assume it'll be patched. I typically run 2 skeletons on my main build, so I can just do this with my main hand. But feel free to take advantage of it until they fix it, or maybe this is how it's supposed to work. I don't know. You want to link Soul Offering with Persistence, Dance Macabre, and Ablation. I saw MP was doing this yesterday, and he was using +1 minion gems. That doesn't really make a ton of sense when this is available. Maybe if you have a fifth slot, it's fine, but it's like literally 1% more damage. You want to add this. It adds like 10% more damage, and it just makes 2 of them. Also, speaking of minion levels, on your swap, you can throw plus level to all minion skills, and it does. I checked it. It snapshots that with the Soul Offering when you switch back. So yeah, kind of goofy, but a lot of free damage for bosses or just in general. The last thing I wanted to talk about is a Blood Mage thing. So I would imagine most people will tune out because there's like 8 of us playing Blood Mage. And that is when you swap your weapons. If you have overcapped life, people have been complaining that you lose that life when you swap back. That's true and not true. The reason that it happens is because you have a different amount of HP, and that's mostly from your weapon swap having a different strength than your main hand. So you'll see, I might die here. I have no resists. This is the dumbest build. but you'll see I have one. Okay, we have overcharge. See, it will stay. If you have just 5 more strength, so let me just refund this off completely. Okay, and then we'll go to our weapon swap, and we'll just add 5 more strength. And then we'll try it again. We get an orb. Yeah, there we go. So we have an orb, so we're at 2,600 extra. We swap, we are at 22, and then we're back to 22. So if you are playing Blood Mage, you want to make sure that your strength or HP in general, when you our weapon swapping, is the same, so that you don't lose that overcapped life, and you can take full advantage of your weapon swap. I think that's it. This build is trying to make Burn in the Shadows work, and it just is really goofy. It'd be kind of fun if I could get what's it called, pain attunement, but it's so far away. I don't know. It's really dumb. But yeah, we're just having fun at this point. All right. I hope everyone has a nice day and that you found this helpful.